Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
Hello, welcome back. It's another podcast. It is episode 32 of the best bits of Atom Radio's Drive Time, and I am Mark Denham from Atom Radio's Drive Time. Thank you so much for checking out this week's podcast. As always, we take a look back at this week in Drive Time. We discovered nameless streets. Residents were quite happy to keep them nameless, and I don't know why. Songwriting, if you can even call it that, in 2019. What makes for a song in 2019? Certainly not what we discovered. Also, stupid inventions like reinventing vacuuming, but without the vacuum, and calling that a household hack, and drinkable crisps. Probably been patented, but I reckon you could probably come up with your own as well. I'll tell you how. Various accents around the world. How do they all come about? And if you're someone that hates queuing, you'll also hear queue-busting tips on the way as well. All on this week's podcast. Enjoy.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Online radio at atomradio.co.uk. The future of radio. It really is. You can take us anywhere on your mobile phone on TuneIn. You can listen on your PC at atomradio.co.uk. If you've got a smart speaker, fire that up as well. You'll also find us in iTunes Radio. There is a town in Germany, and voters in northwest Germany have delivered a resounding message to their local council. Keep our streets nameless. What? Residents of Hilgermissen were asked to take part in a referendum to decide whether or not local roads should be given names, with current addresses proving a challenge for visitors who do not know their way around. History dictates they're only made up of house numbers and the name of an old village, with Hilgersman having been formed out of several small communities in the 70s. The town, can you imagine, how do you program a sat-nav or anything there? Has 2,200 people living in it. 60% of those who voted in the referendum said they wanted the existing system to be maintained. I mean, how do you give your address? You know, like me, I say my house number and my street number, and obviously like the town in which I live, you know, so you're like, you know, for example, and this isn't my address, by the way, before anyone turns up, 1 High Street, Slough, you know, or 17 Mark Road, Slough, whatever. How on earth do you give an address in Hilgersman? Or if someone's coming to visit you, you know, for me, I could say, like, you know, you go around this roundabout, take the third exit, go through a couple of sets of traffic lights, take a left, then you'll come to a roundabout, take a right, easy, you know, and then you're on to name of my road, follow it round, You know, in Hilgersman, what do you do? How do you actually direct anyone to your house? I mean, it must be an absolute nightmare, isn't it? But 60% of the people decided there should be no name still in this street. This just proves, doesn't it? You know, like when you give the people a say, look at America. America gave the people a say and they got Donald Trump. Look at the UK. The UK gave the people a say. They got Brexit and Theresa May.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Atom Radio at 21 to 5. It is Monday's Drive Time. You know when the police issue these mugshots, you know, wanted. Well, police have been forced to defend a wanted man after he was ridiculed online in the shot that they released for his haircut. Humberside police in the UK want to speak to Emilio Romana in connection with a burglary in Kingston upon Hull on the 6th of February. His mugshot was uploaded to Twitter and Facebook and attracted at least 400 Facebook comments with ours about his bowl cut and his high fringe. One urged the police, while you're at it, please arrest his barber. I have to say, like, you know, I don't have any hair. Being a bald man, I don't have any hair. But my word, if I had hair and I'd gone to a barber's and come out looking like this guy, Emilio Romana, if I'd come out looking like him, I would probably want some form of compensation from my barber, if I'm honest. It's a horrible, horrible haircut.
Drive time with Mark Denham.
Lumineers and Hey Ho on Atom Radio, Sugar Hill Gang, and before that, every word in that song you can hear. At the weekend, I was DJing, and someone asked me for Rush, M-Splash, Gun Lean. All right, you're not going to hear it on here. Definitely not going to hear it on here. But I was just thinking, you know, like about the lyrics of this, right? Gun lean, man, gun lean. Gun lean on the beat as well. For everyone, boys and girls, flick your shoulder, use them well, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Gun lean, man, gun lean. Gun lean on the beat as well. For everyone, boys and girls, flick your shoulder, use them well. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
That's the chorus, okay? I can't even be bothered with the verse, but, you know, what does it mean? Gun lean? Does it mean like you've got a large shotgun and you're leaning on it? Is it, you've got perhaps, big biceps and maybe you're leaning on them? What does it actually mean? Like, who's writing this stuff in 2019? Who is writing this stuff? Come on, who's credited with this? I can find the producer. I can't find who actually wrote it, though. I'm not surprised. They probably didn't want to put their name to it, did they? This is Deacon Blue.
Fergus sings the blues.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
6:18. It is Monday's Drive Time. A Japanese company has launched something that the UK is now calling for. This Japanese company has launched drinkable crisps. It's a tube of broken up crisps, so you can just pour them straight into your mouth. So all you've got to do really, if you're not in Japan and you want these, is perhaps just sit on your bag of crisps before you eat them or something, and then you'll just be able to drink them that way, because that's all they are, broken up crisps. So, do you reckon I could patent that? Buy a bag of crisps, sit on it, then you can, in quotes, drink them rather than eat them. Problem solved.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
It's Tuesday, it's Drive Time at 4:15. Hello, Mark with you until 7 o'clock tonight. In the news today, a host of Fox News has revealed he hasn't washed his hands for 10 years because germs are not real. Ew, dirty Bertie. Imagine how many people have shaken hands with that man in 10 years. Like when you shake hands with someone, you're kind of trusting that they are going to be clean, aren't you? But he's not washed his hands in 10 years. Oh, dear. Also in the news today, Elon Musk reckons tickets for a trip to Mars could be below $100,000. Oh, well, that's all right then. We'll all be able to go twice a year.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Atom Radio, Drive Time for Tuesday. We are talking about secrets right now. I did promise you that we would, and we are. So that's not a secret. Studies show the average person has some 13 secrets and has never told anyone at least 5 of them. However, the same study also shows that secrecy can cause anxiety and place a strain on relationships. This is all thanks to research by Columbia University, which compared how keeping secrets out of shame versus guilt affects our perceptions of ourselves. Now, everyone has these secrets. It's the ones that we're ashamed of that we're most likely to get hung up on. This is a study which has been published in the journal Emotion, found that guilty secrets evoke feelings of remorse and regret, while shameful secrets make people feel worthless and powerless. Emotional states significantly more likely to consume their thoughts. People are more likely to feel inclined about shame about the secrets relating to their mental health or their physical appearance, but felt guilt when the secrets were about a wrongdoing to another person. So, 1,000 people were surveyed for this research. Do you have a secret? I'm not asking you what your secret is, but do you have one? Like, is there something that you would tell absolutely nobody? Maybe you're married. Perhaps you wouldn't even tell your husband or your wife. Maybe your best mate doesn't know. Do you have one of those secrets? And do you think that it affects you? I've got them. I have got secrets. I'll be honest. I have got them. I don't think... Well, actually, no. No. I wouldn't say... Yeah, I've got secrets in general, but there are people that know them. So they're not maybe 100% secret. They're maybe 99.9% secret. But do they affect you? I don't think it affects me, if I'm honest, the fact that I've got these secrets. Everyone has surely got them, haven't they? Would you say you've got a secret? Would you say that keeping that secret affects you in other ways? On air at atomradio.co.uk, buzz me in about your secrets, whether you've got one or not.
Drive time with Mark Denham.
Just a couple of stories from the news. A married police chief who's 44 and a junior female officer who's 38, accused of having sex in a lay-by while on duty during an 18-month affair, now face being kicked out of the force for gross misconduct. Oh dear. That's not so good, is it? I wonder if they were in the traffic division. Also, a YouTube urban explorer says that more than 10 police officers arrested him at the airport over the claims that he stole a 15-pence cup of tea even, 2 years earlier. Hang on a minute, when did this happen? A 15-pence cup of tea at an airport. When did this happen? Like, when was the last time you could buy a cup of tea in an airport for 15 pence? I mean, it doesn't happen now, does it? Probably, 50, well, I'd say probably £2 in an airport. I've not been in an airport for a long time. I'd say probably £2 at a minimum for an airport cup of tea. But no, apparently this guy was arrested by 10 police officers who claim he stole a 15-pence cup of tea 2 years earlier. Don't know whether it was at Gatwick Airport. Apparently, they reckon he stole a cup of tea worth 15p 2 years ago. There's been a lot of inflation in those 2 years, then, hasn't there?
Mark Denham.
David Bowie, Ashes to Ashes. Atom Radio's Wednesday drive time. Hello, it is 4:08. It's Mark with you until 7 o'clock tonight. I was walking earlier and somebody came up to me in the street. Now, I've got a pair of trainers. I love these trainers. They are kind of a suede black and white Air Max 95, all right? Now, I think I got them probably 2005, 2006. So they're 13, 14 years old, I would say. And they're all right still. They're all right. Okay. Somebody stopped me yesterday. Oh man, I love your trainers. Where did you get them from? I want to get a pair. I was thinking, I've not seen them for a long, long time, but good luck with that.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
It's Wednesday's drive time. Cheers for sticking us on. You got Mark with you on atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio, and on your smart speaker as well. Wherever you are, there is a way to listen to us as long as you've got internet of some kind. 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, wired, you can listen. Now, this thing that's happening to children. A lot of children watch YouTube and Netflix and iPlayer and stuff like that. Well, American kids are noticing that their children are changing the way they speak after watching Peppa Pig, and they are speaking in an American accent. Parents in the US are claiming that the children's TV show has caused their kids to start speaking in a British accent. Now, I see nothing wrong in that, because the language they're speaking is English, so why not speak it in an English accent? I don't see a problem in that. But I've noticed the same with my son, who does watch a lot of videos on YouTube. And some of the things he says, like tomato. Well, no, it's a tomato. And XYZ. No, it's a Z. So yeah, it works both ways, doesn't it? Americans are saying, well, YouTube and Peppa Pig is causing our children to speak English with an English accent. Whereas YouTube and particularly that annoying Ryan who reviews the toys. Sorry, Ryan, or Ryan's mum, if you are listening. But YouTube and stuff like that is causing my son, who's speaking English with an American accent. So yeah, we live in a global world in this day and age. Perhaps one day we'll see the dissolution of all accents. This is Ava Max.
Drive time with Mark Denham.
Mark on Drive Time. We did mention about accents earlier and how American parents are claiming that children watching Peppa Pig is causing them to speak English with a British accent. Also, my son, I've noticed, does say some American things as well. He's 3.5, like a tomato, an XYZ. And I'm just wondering, all right, now I can understand if English isn't your first language, okay, then you will probably speak English with an accent, like French people speak English with a French accent, don't they? People from India, people from Pakistan speak English with an Indian accent. I'm not knocking that, by the way, because their English is much better than my Punjabi or my Urdu would be, or my French or whatever. But the thing that confuses me, and this happens not just around the world, but even up and down the UK, is we're speaking a common language, like English, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and, like America, Australia, for example. And yet there are so many different ways of saying things, aren't there? So many different accents, even within the UK. Like here where I am, I don't think there is an accent. I think we just speak English. But then if you go, say, to Newcastle, there's a heavy accent there. If you go to Scotland, there are various accents around Scotland. Edinburgh, Glasgow, very, very strong dialects. Liverpool, Manchester, they all have dialects as well, don't they? And that's just in the UK speaking English. And then in America, you know, like things are totally different, like tomato and XYZ, like my son says, very, very different. And of course, Australia has a strong twang on their British accent as well. But, how does that happen? Because if you're learning English as a second language, I fully get that, yeah, there'll be an accent because you've grown up speaking a different language and you are saying English in as a foreign tongue. But if you are speaking English from birth, even if you're not in the UK but you're still speaking English, how is it that all these different accents have developed and different ways of saying one word in a common language? Something to think about.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
You know, if you're into yoga, and a lot of people are now though, aren't they? A lot of people are into yoga and meditation and stuff like that. Well, there's now a place in Britain where you can do yoga classes in a field full of alpacas. Rosebud Alpacas is located on a remote small holding amongst the countryside and is the perfect place for yoga. To make the experience even more amazing, the owners Nick and Lucy Elliott decided to run the classes in the same field where they keep their alpacas. So you go in the field with these like great big alpaca things watching you do yoga. Now, I must admit, I'm not someone that does yoga. So, I'm just watching these alpacas here thinking, they're all staring on intently at these people sat in a field on their mat doing yoga. And they're probably thinking, what are these people actually doing? If you would like to go along, though, then the classes take place in South Molton and Devon and are said to be a unique experience which is great for mind, body and soul, as long as you don't put your yoga mat on a pile of alpaca poo.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
You got Mark with you on Thursday's Drive Time. Gucci have come under fire. They're selling a pair of trainers that just look old and dirty for £615. Wow. Behold their off-white leather, their green and orange webbing with vintage effect, and what Gucci are calling a distressed finished. They just look dirty, if I'm honest. Like, why pay 615 quid for a pair of trainers that just look dirty when you could just pop out and pay 50, 60 quid for a pair of trainers and get them dirty? Problem solved.
Drive time with Mark Denham.
Jokes have been made, many jokes have been made about this yesterday. The M3, which is if you're listening from outside the UK, it's a motorway near London. Now, the M3 was closed yesterday at Junction 3, Bagshot, Lightwater, in both directions because swans were wandering on the motorway. Now, bear in mind, this is a 70-mile-an-hour road. The motorway was brought to a standstill by Highways England. That's the traffic officers. They held the traffic between Junction 2 for the M25 and 3 for Bagshot, Lightwater. And they managed to shepherd the birds onto the slip road so they could open the carriageway again whilst they waited for someone to come and get them. Now, somebody did suggest that these may in fact be the Queen's swans, which they may very well have been, because the Queen's swans do live in and around Egham and that, and by the M25. So it may be that they were the Queen's swans. Given that they were on a motorway and they may have been the Queen's swans, it's probably just as well she didn't send her husband out to go and pick them up in the car.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
5:30 on a Thursday, it's Atom Radio. It is Mark with you on Valentine's Day. A lady in the UK was absolutely ravaged after she appeared on Good Morning Britain and said that she claimed Valentine's Day was harassment. Come on. By that, you're just demeaning anyone who has actually been a victim of genuine harassment. Right, now, the way I see it, if you are with someone, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you send them a Valentine's card, no problem, all right? But if you send a cheeky Valentine's card to someone you fancy, all right, again, no problem. It's one day of the year. You're sending a card. That's it. Harassment would be if you were to say to them every day, hey, I fancy you, I want to go out with you. And they said no. Next day, I fancy you, I want to go out with you. If you were to do that, that'd be harassment. One Valentine's card. Come on. It is not harassment. It absolutely is not.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Did promise you I'd tell you about this cleaning hack, a household hack which leaves carpets spotless in seconds. Now, cleaning enthusiasts have revealed a simple trick for getting a clean carpet, and all it involves is a 99p glass cleaner. The craze was started by the Queen of Clean, Mrs. Hinch, whose real name is Sophie Hincliffe. She insists that a squeegee... What's a squeegee? She insists a squeegee, which is commonly used to wipe a car, bathroom or window glass, is the perfect solution. Sharing the tip with her 1.8 million Instagram followers, if indeed she still has all of those after the Instagram bug that removed them, the lady reveals that she gently scrapes the dry squeegee over the carpet to lift away hair, dust and lint. So you're not really, if I'm honest here, you're not really cleaning the carpet, are you? You're basically vacuuming the carpet without a vacuum. You know, like if you've spilt your red wine all over it, or your cup of tea, or, you know, like you spilt your chicken korma all over it, I don't think a dry squeegee is going to do much, is it? Probably not.
Mark Denham.
It is Mark with you until 7 tonight. I was just mentioning a few minutes ago about that person who let the rat loose in McDonald's in America. And I don't know why they did it, if I'm honest. I don't know why they did it. But I was just thinking, if you want to jump the queue, all right, there's one trick that I used to use. And I have to say, I've not done it for a long time. But if there's like a child in front of you in the queue, and this is horrendous, I used to do this when I was probably, I don't know, maybe about 15, 16, I used to do this, right? If there's a young child in front of you in the queue, you tap them on the shoulder and say, hang on, I think your mum or your dad wants you, and you point over like somewhere, and they leave the queue. Job done. That's really evil, isn't it? I'm not proud of it now. A few years on, I'm not proud of it now. So if you are going to McDonald's tonight, don't try that. It's not fair on the little kid that you do it to. I wouldn't do it now, I have to say.
Drive time with Mark Denham.
Friday's drive time at 13 to 6. We're online at atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio, and on your smart speaker. This is, well, it would be funny if it wasn't sad. In America, there are elections to be mayor of a US city. Now, a candidate has made it through to the final round of the election. So they do it basically, you know, like you have a big vote and the loser drops out each time. One of the candidates has made it through to the final round of an election. Sadly, however, this candidate, who is the current sitting mayor, died in December. Now, the elections were due to be held anyway. Mr. Lamb, Charles Lamb, his name is, he has been the mayor since October 2011. He put his name forward to run in the elections before he died, but when he passed away, it was too late to remove his name from the ballot or to add anyone else. The next election is the final election on the 2nd of April, and his name is still on the ballot, and he could still potentially win, despite the fact that he is sadly now dead. In the event he does win, a mayor is appointed by the Edmond City Council. So, in other words, the whole election thing would then have been a waste of time.
atomradio.co.uk.
So that kind of proves, doesn't it? You know, like there was a referendum here in the UK in 2016 for Brexit. And look what happened. The Americans had an election for the president to replace Barack Obama. And look what happened. And now there's an election where a dead man, and, you know, rest in peace, dead man, but where a dead man could actually win and retain his mayorship. How can that be, eh? How can that be? And that gun lean song, come on. Do you like it? Do you understand it? More importantly, it doesn't cut the mustard with me. Episode 32 of the podcast is therefore now a wrap. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the best bits of this week's Drive Time. You can actually catch it live on Atom Radio. That is Drive Time. And our next episode we'll cover next week. But you can be listening live between 4 and 7, Monday to Friday, on atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio, and on your smart speaker as well. Thank you for checking out episode 32. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Episode 33 will be with you next Saturday. Have a great week. Listen to the show live. And if you can't, I'll catch you back next week for the podcast.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denham.
atomradio.co.uk.